Procurement and Innovation Management Cloud Offering by Oracle. In this video, we will see at a very high level the complete offering in the space of procurement and how innovation management complements the procurement professionals. You are now viewing our safe harbor statement. So I'll come to the name of the presentation in few of the future slides, but I want to start with looking at the 2 or 3 key requirements from a procurement executive's point of view. Ensure, expand, and support. So what are we ensuring? We're ensuring a cost saving mechanism to maintain our operating margin. The executive also needs to ensure that there is a procurement efficiency in the system and the company's growth with existing headcounts. So these mechanisms are very, very important when you look at it from an organization point of view. So let me start by asking a question. Where is your organization? So by breaking down the organization's structure, we will see that we have got a finance system. We also have got a type of integrated procurement system, some of us have got a finance system which is totally different than a procurement system, and they are somehow linked together with some interfaces. I'm not trying to give you direction of a cloud or on-premise, I'm trying to just give you general direction. But when you break this procurement system into few key details, for example, contract management, which may or may not have an integration, or a sourcing portal, which we usually have with some third party. I have known many companies in my past consulting experience who actually had a third party hosted site where they used to feed in all their RFX documents, and then they used to get respond in that site. So a poor supplier needs to actually not only respond back on that sourcing portal, but also needs to then go back and give you the information so that you can then load it into a contract management system, into a finance management system, or a procurement also, because you have to pay the supplier at some given point of time. Now all this creates a lot of broken separate systems, business process steps, which actually confuses the internal people, makes the supplier a bit uncomfortable. And just if you take a step back and you look at these 4 systems, you may be paying differently for all these services, and I'm not even including the cost of integration. So when you do that, what you lose is actually your spend analysis, because nothing is in one system, so you are not able to generate a report which says this is exactly what I spend on this particular categories. So I have actually gone ahead and given 3 key distinguished points which talks about what you lose and what you gain when you're looking at this kind of a process. There is no category management, so everything is on paper in Excel in a separate sheet of database, hence creating a lack of visibility. These broken systems often create a lot of unhappiness between the staff and the suppliers. So take a minute and look at this picture and decide and discuss that do you want to be at this place, or do you want to go to a better place? So if I put it into a word of automotive, which I am a fan of, so you keep into a designing mode, and if your designer is brilliant and he has a track of mind, he will design something which will give you a very fast way of transacting, but it will be totally not justifiable from a cost perspective, because everything will be too expensive. For example, this car takes about 20 to 30 gallons of fuel per quarter mile. How would you sustain this? No sustainability. This one looks very cute, not usable because it's not registerable. There is always a problem of these types when you come with a system which are not designed ground up with an integration in mind. But definitely most of us get a system which is something like this. Now this is a famous picture from India, which is the car in this thing is Jugaad, and it is designed to do everything, but at the same time it is crooked, cruel, and it is really, really unsafe. All the time when we're looking at just getting a piece of technology which can take us from point A to point B, may be a bit inexpensive, maybe a bit luxurious. How does that sound, by the way? Again, my question remains, where is your organization? Do you want to be there, which we just went past, or do you want to go to the next level where you are looking at an ultra efficient, collaborative, strategic process where everything is in one system, so you don't have to worry about it, and you can get your analysis, you can get your processes, everything streamlined. And hence this brings out to the subject of this today's discussion, which is drive innovation and cost saving through procurement and innovation management cloud. So what am I talking here, right? What am I talking about here? So let's look at what is the offering, and we slowly will jump into the system and we'll look at the whole process. So Oracle's complete cloud offering comes with few bells and whistles which are added or an add-on to your base systems. Transactions is a common phenomena which every one of us does. But if you look at everything in here, which is your mobile, social, analytics, user experience, UX, connection, security, all these things matter when you are dealing with a tier 1 level system. So if you drill down from there to procurement, what do we get? You not only get a procurement system which has got a complete base to manage your procurement needs, including supplier management or sourcing or contracts. You also get an analytics which is pre-built within the transaction and also on the transactional dashboard, on analytic dashboards. We also give you an added advantage of putting in innovation management, which is nothing but a tool to bring in all your ideas, all your concepts, all your good thought processes, and align it towards an outcome. Now, this outcome can be a sourcing event. This outcome can be a business process improvement. This item can be just a different way of doing business, which will have an impact on your bottom line. So how do we do it? So we do it by the fact that all these ideas, you can then convert it at any given point of time into a proposal, which goes through an approval hierarchy. And based on the requirement of the proposal and the approval, you can then go ahead and make a sensible decision. So what is innovation? All right. Again, I'll always talk about innovation, ideas, thinking outside the box, making sure that if you are buying green, then you have got the right number of dollar value attached to the right amount of transactions. At the end of the day, you should meet or exceed your return on investment out of the system which you're using, out of the procurement event which you're having, out of anything which you're doing in the business world. So what does this thinking outside the box really means? And we will focus on it when we go into the innovation management side of the demo, in which we will see innovation management tool. We will understand the reporting which it offers. We'll also understand the standard business solutions which we design so that we can actually associate an idea to a business requirement and then collectively look at it from a liking and disliking basis, just like Facebook, and then come back to a valid proposal, which again goes through an approval hierarchy to then see whether this can be a sourcing event, or this may or may not be that bit of a value add. So in the world of procurement cloud, what do we offer? We offer the holistic view of everything. You have got procurement, you have got self-service, you've got sourcing, contracts, supplier portals. I mean, you have the whole kit to make sure that none of those broken up systems which you saw in the previous slides are actually there. So what do we do in self-service? We make sure that you have got the right approvals, right cost center, right project information, and you are able to then create a requisition, go through the approval process, and associate the requisition to a particular buyer. Now, when you do that, we also offer you the mobile approval flow. So there are apps which are right now coming, and there are apps which are coming in the future. Now, these approvals actually help you look at all your transactions from their point of view. Now, when you go into the self-service requisitioning page, now this is how simple the page looks like. You will notice that there is a browsing catalog. There are all your current requisitions which are open, and you have got a search box. You need to just do a search of a item in that. You click, and you will see that part. You can see the pictures. You have all the options around the quality of the parts, what is offered, and the quantity to order and everything else. Just need to add it to requisition, enter and submit. And once you enter and submit, you will see a transactional reporting in real time, which is your average of all your past transactions in your organization, to give you a fulfillment index, which tells you how many days does it take for a requisition to approve versus how many days does it take for a PO to approve versus how many days a supplier take to deliver the product. Now this is a big help from anyone's perspective. I am a buyer in a remote site. I just want to order something for my particular requirement from a business point of view, and I see this. Gives me a lot of faith that the system does work. I submit and I can see my requisition. Now I have done some tests, and I can guarantee you that if you know what you're buying from a part number perspective or from a click and enter and next perspective, I've done the nearest submission time of requisition to about 18.4 seconds. That's the number. We also give you a mobile intelligence dashboard. Now I could have done this demo from a tablet or from a Surface Pro or from a laptop, doesn't really matter. But you see all these reports which are standard part of the process. You get it because they are there. The data is there for you. How cool is that? From here on, when we go to the next level of details, we are looking at Oracle Cloud Sourcing. Now, when you talk about sourcing has a tool, does many things for a business. It brings in all the data which you have to compile to create an RFX event. I say RFX because you can use it for an RFI or an RFP or RFQ, depending on what you call in your business. Now, when you are using this particular view, you see that while you are creating and collecting all that information, this dashboard is self-populating everything on its own. So if I start through the process of creating an RFI and then I click on that main page itself, I can see that I have an RFQ number. Sorry, I created an RFQ, not an RFI. And this RFQ number actually is now in line with my my requirement because I have just selected a template. So it's a totally designed, self-contained box of information where I can now in this view see either click on overview and see my overview or click on my RFX document. And from there, if I actually go down to the particular RFX which I'm interested in, I can now go and see where am I in the life cycle of that particular RFX. And this is a very, very strong solution or point of view for a user, because at any given point of time I can see where am I in that RFX, and it will actually save that RFX in that particular position when I click on save. Now as I move ahead, I can then see that I am moving around. I'm just adding, because it was a template, I'm adding a name and an end date. I'm just going through the contract slide to show you what is in the contract. So the contracts are the T's and C's which you are sending to your suppliers so that they need to understand what are the rules of engagement, and you just submit. This is how simple a creation of an RFQ or an RFI process is. Once this is submit, the supplier gets a notification through email. Supplier can then open the portal and review the RFX document and respond back. How simple the world would be if we have these kind of processes running in every business here who are attending this conference. We move on, and besides all that, we also offer a robust supplier management process where supplier have the self-service capacity. They can actually go and update their information if it is authorized by a business and allowed. And we also have an onboarding and collaboration tool which will help you bring the supplier on board and make sure that you have got the right level of question answers with them. Our supplier portal gives you a lot of insight for a supplier actually to respond to a PO, see the PO, review the PO, review the agreement, respond, look at the deliverables which are key to any business process on a day-to-day basis, look at an RFX event, respond to an event. It does many things. Hence help you do business better with your suppliers and also give them the confidence that you actually care about them. So from here we jump into our cloud offering for supplier qualifications. Now this is one of the nicest way to qualify a supplier, because you are not submitting an RFI to a supplier asking them 17,000 questions, because you're not there yet. You are just trying to qualify a supplier to see whether the supplier is eligible for an RFI event. You're also making sure that you are able to manage any kind of qualification questionnaires and also do a requalification process through using the same portal. So the first thing which hits you is that the entire look and feel remains the same as it was in the self-service or it was in the sourcing portal. So we have got key things here. You have got an overview page. You have got your key creating page where you go and click and you create. You got an initiative page also in this, which you can look at all the current initiatives which may be in progress, in draft mode, or are waiting from a new supplier process. So what does this mean actually from a usability point of view? It means that you have the ability to create a qualification and assessment criteria for your suppliers. You can create and use this questionnaire in a templated format. It makes your life much simpler from a holistic solution point of view, because now you have resolved the common problem which we always had about, oh, I have these suppliers, I don't know whether they are the right ones. So we've just taken a brief look at our qualification process, not an entirely complete solution. I'm more than happy to, by the way, come and see you personally and show you the solutions individually or at a higher level. So which brings back to the common question, we have a complete cloud which actually offers you more than what you imagined in the procurement business, because procurement professionals are never taken as a cutting edge professionals. They're always taken as an expense or a cost center to the organization. And I want you to stand up and tell to your business or respond to your business and let them know that you are no more the cost center. You are also contributing, because you are now looking at their ideas, your ideas, and everybody else's combined effort to then come back with a better, valuable, proportioned procurement processes. So now, if I actually break this down into, say, 2 or 3 different areas of procurement, I would always break down procurement to be either a complete P2P and source to settle system, or it can be divided into 2, P2P and source to settle. But at any given point of time, if you divide anything between source and settle and P2P, then you are actually creating a lot of integration nightmares to yourself. So what are we talking about here when we talk about innovation management, managing the whole life cycle of innovation? Let me give you an example, and this example is from a sourcing world. It's a common known process, and I think about 30-40% of you would be in this room who would be signing up for this and saying, yes, I have heard of it, I know it, or at least I have used it in my business. This is called the classic 7 steps of sourcing. Now this is where we stand up and say this is a very, very good process. So you start with initial spend analysis, where you go through the whole spend categorization. Now you can do it better if you have a better tools to capture your spend. You go through the in-depth due diligence. You go to the market, where you go an RFI process and you decide which suppliers you want to go and qualify. Remember, here you're using a tool. Then you go to a strategy meeting and you then create a complete comprehensive RFX. You go through the selection criteria and award. Now, if you look at this, there are not many faults with this process, all right? But yet, if you look at it a little bit more closely, I can at least give you 3 common known facts or problems with this particular 7-stage sourcing. There are 3 common models, problem are that this particular model comes with an beginning and an end. Why would you not be a good thing? Because you cannot begin and end a sourcing project. It's an ongoing process. The second issue which I have with this particular model is that we are taking for granted that the sourcing project was a good one. Brilliant. And the third one is we are not even sure that how was this project identified. Now, how would you come to an agreement of going to market and sourcing something when you are not sure how was that project identified? So having said that, we as a professional come under a lot of pressure, right? Pressure from the business, from the supplier, from talent perspective, because at the end of the day, everyone is telling us you need to save more while you're spending because this is what is costing our bottom line. And that is true. But at the same time, what could you do different to make sure that you actually are doing the right things? And this is where the product innovation management kicks in, which gives you a funnel-like view where you can capture and develop and prioritize all your processes, ideas. Now, when I say ideas, I just don't mean they are just an idea. What I mean is that they could be a recommendation, a prospect, procurement plan, or whatever you call it, and you can just drop it into this. It goes through the concept of design and proposal, and from there it goes into the portfolio, where it goes through the approval hierarchy, and then you have the option to create it once it is approved and funding's approved into a procurement event. Now, you could use the same tool for something else, and that's totally a different discussion point, but at this given point of time, I am linking these two together. So I am right now working with one of the leading procurement BPO organizations in Sydney who are now deciding to actually bring in this products together to design a complete holistic 7 steps of sourcing which will not have an starting and an end. So what is innovation management and how does it look like? So when you log into the user as a super user, I'll see on the first dashboard itself that what is my status of my current ideas. Now you can call it a procurement ideas. I can also see who are my top contributors from my supplier's point of view, because it's a two-way street when you look at the sourcing event. And it also gives me the key index of how many ideas were created versus how many ideas were, commented upon, voted upon, updated. So you get a holistic picture even before you are into the system. You just logged in. And then you drop down to the next page, which is your ideas page, and you can see each one of these ideas which have now got capacity to be liked or disliked, just like Facebook, have got capacity to create a proposal once you are satisfied with the response from what the ideas are, and you have the capacity to review the comments. So this gives you an uncanny advantage that you are not imposing your thought processes on the business. You are collecting everybody's point of view and then let the system decide which one is the better proposal. Now, what is the 6 steps of innovation management which are part of this system? So it captures all the information, maps all the information to the current business requirement, which is a process option you have. You can then look at the concept of the idea plus requirement, submit a proposal, look at the portfolio, look at the execution step where you actually release it to the business for the next level of procurement transactions. Although now I did not promise actually, I had actually stated that, I might give a set of box of steak knives with this particular demo, but I couldn't actually. So I just want to tell you guys, thank you very much for coming here and attending this event, and also giving me a chance to come and present to you one of the nicest solutions which I have seen in a long time of IT history. Trust me when I tell you that this will change some of your thought processes. Thank you very much. Bye.